So tell me this: you're approaching your 70s, wrong side of 60, aren't you?
Wrong side of 60. Yeah.
Right. And the thing is, that you've still got your health. Touch wood. Still got your health. You've still got.
Yeah.
You're still living. You're going okay there.
Yep.
Tell me this, you know, compared to the you can really remember. You can remember the 60s, can't you?
Yeah.
You can remember the 70s.
Yeah.
And then everything since then is just like yesterday.
Mm.
But can you, when you just started your working career in 1967, 68, okay.
Yeah.
So would you have believed that Australia and a lot of these Western world countries, America, England, would not have any manufacturing industries at all? Would you have thought that this would have turned bad like that?
Do you think at that age I was thinking about those issues? I was thinking, well, how do I get myself a girlfriend?
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
I mean, you've gone through that period, right, where there was a lot of jobs.
Well, yeah, it's happened. Well,
There was a lot of jobs, right?
when we came here, for instance,
Well, you came in 60.
there was 3 textile mills, 2 in Ipswich, 1 at Redbank.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, 1 at Ipswich burnt down.
Yeah.
Then 1 at Ipswich closed down,
Yeah,
and then the one at Redbank eventually closed down.
that's right.
And now they got nothing. And well, that's just textile industries,
Yes.
woolen textiles.
Yes.
And then you go to car manufacturing. They're closing those down.
They had General Motors at Acacia Ridge.
Yeah.
They had
The massive close down. In fact, I can't understand why the Australian government couldn't have said, right here, General Motors, you're going. Well, we're going to buy that site, and we'll make our own car. Let's get some Australians together. Let's make our own car.
But what the government? Let's be honest, there, the governments don't really manage businesses well.
No, they don't.
So it would be a huge fucking. It'd be like a communist bloc attempt. You know what I mean? Like a communist country item, just inferior quality, absolute garbage. Like if General Motors, people would say, if General Motors can't make a go of it, the #1 car maker in the world at the time, what chance have we got? You're the professionals, you're the experts, and you can't do it. Well, how could we do it? We know nothing about cars.
Well, they had, the governments had the Commonwealth Bank. They had the banks, Suncorp.
Sure.
They were doing quite well with those banks. Then, of course, they deregulated them, sold them off, and then the banks started, being more interested in profit and looking after shareholders than after customers. But the Commonwealth Bank was a very good bank and a very profitable bank. That was really, well, that was run by the government.
Sure.
The
That was
government
run
owned
by
it.
the government. Yeah.
All the dividends went to the government.
Yeah.
And the government could have appointed, like they've appointed now, different managing directors and had a different focus. And it would have kept the other banks in check. But
Sure.
no, they sold it off because they were greedy. Well, what was wrong with Telstra? Telstra was a good business. It still exists. Nothing much has changed. And what do? They sold it off. What about Qantas? Qantas was a good airline. When it was owned by the government, it had more stability, better safety, better whatever. No, they sold it off. And people were happy to pay a higher price.
Well,
for safety.
but traditionally, governments don't run businesses well.
Well, in Queensland, the government used to own all the butchers, I'm told.
I see.
And they sold them off eventually.
But you understand what I'm saying? Like governments don't really run businesses terribly well because it's like, remember the trade union movement? They tried to have those petrol stations, Total, didn't they? Solo. Remember that?
Yeah.
What happened to that? That was supposed to be the workers' paradise.
Yeah.
Right?
It failed, didn't it?
And the reality is you only make money on a petrol station if you pay them absolute fuck all wages.
Yeah.
Screw them as hard as you can. Because the margins are,
Or have an operator works long hours for nothing. Yeah. That's right. If you start paying top wages and then you don't make money. And they had that trade union co-op too at Paddington where you got furniture and that sort of stuff, and that sort of closed down too. They couldn't make any money out of that either.
Well,
or they didn't make as much as they wanted to.
Well, the problem is that if you're paying them, You need someone who's got. You need someone who's a dictator who says, "Do this. Don't argue with me. I'm the boss. Fuck off, or do it my way, or fuck off."
Yeah.
You need someone who's a dictator, not necessarily.
You can't
50 committee meetings.
That's right. 50 committee meetings for every decision. That's right.
Exactly, and then 70 choices.
Yeah, that's right.
You've got to. You can't procrastinate or. I mean, you look at these things, right? Governments do such a poor job at managing things like services. I'm not trying to have a go at anyone, but you look at Queensland Rail. What the? I'm not trying to have a go at either side here, but seriously, they've got stations, right? They need to transport passengers. Okay, so this is all fixed. You can do computer modelling on this. You need so many locomotives, so many drivers. How the fuck could you fuck that up, really?
Well, let's look. But looking at, when I was a kid. There's no issue about what was whatever. Queensland Rail was Queensland Rail. It worked very well.
Yeah.
Trains ran on time. Everything was going well.
It wasn't that great.
Yeah, but
the thing is too, in your day you had fucking steam trains, right?
Yeah.
Or you had diesel, right? They were very inefficient. They were very
steam
inefficient.
Trains and then diesels later. Yeah.
But for the last, it was actually the Joe government brought in the electrification in the 80s.
Yeah.
Don Lane was the minister then, he went to jail.
Yeah.
But Don Lane was the minister, and that was the electrification for the city train line, right?
Yeah.
And what's basically happened, successive governments have come in, they realise a train has a working life of 30 to 40 years. 30 years, really. It's like an aeroplane. They last about 30. After that time, you can keep them going forever if you keep throwing money into them, but it's not worth repairing them. You're better off to buy a new one and start again. You know what I mean? That's like all these things. They have a optimum level, then it's best to get rid of it and get a new one because there's advances. But these things here, governments themselves are supposed to be managers, right? Managers. They're managing these things. People need to get to work. Well, the thing with trains is you've got fixed stations. It's not like these things are constantly moving. You've got fixed stations. We need to do this train at this time.
I think
how can you honestly?
I think what the problem with the Queensland rails is that, and the Commonwealth Bank was the same. The rail and the banks made money, so they take that money into revenue.
Sure,
but if it was a private company, you take that money and put it and buy new stock, upgrade your stock and put a reserve and this sort of thing. Well, they don't. They just take it when it's there, and then all of a sudden it needs money, so they got to dip into the budget to buy new trains.
That's correct.
But what they should have done, when the profit's there, they put it into a savings sort of thing. I think build up cash.
I think the problem is too, they've got too much of a committee meeting mentality. No one's prepared to say, you need someone to say, no, this is the decision, I made a fuck up or I did this. They have too much committee meeting type of structure.
Yeah, they do.
You've got every fucking bastard puts his. So what I'm trying to say is if the government can't run a thing like a train service, right? They fucked it up badly, right? Both sides of government have fucked it up, right?
Well,
how could they make cars? With your argument before, the government went into making cars. Could you imagine the fuck up it would be?
Well, look, when they ran TAA, that ran very well. Qantas ran very well. Commonwealth Bank was doing well. Telstra ran well. So why can't they have cars run well?
Telstra ran well when it didn't have any competition.
Well, the car, you can take away the competition from cars, whack on tariffs, and then you've got no competition. But it's not going to make a good car. But the trouble is the cost of labour is expensive in Australia. That's the problem, I suppose.
Yes.
But you can do a lot of things provided you have a long-term view. Why can the Japanese government get involved in and make sure the Japanese make good cars? Because they took a long-term view. They help and fund and whatever, protect their industry. Whilst in Australia, they're all short-term views, and we're a great country. We can do a lot more. And it's just that you've got all these advisors, all these guys going to university, got PhDs, doctors, economics, everything, and they can't run anything. Well, they can, but they haven't got the authority and the people who can. When you got like the airline now, you got that Joyce guy. Well, he sacks this and he does this and does that. So he's making these decisions, right or wrong. Well, that's in the rail. There isn't a person making decisions.
No.
They haven't got. Look at what bank used to a certain extent. That
I think it's too top heavy.
yeah, there's ways of. Look, there must be ways of doing things. If you want to do something, you can always do anything. But the thing is, how do you do it? And yeah,
you know who the most effective person at doing that was on a big scale?
Who's that?
Was Adolf Hitler.
Oh well, yeah.
You know, because he Germany in the 30s was fucked, right?
Yeah, no, he did.
I'm not saying I support Adolf Hitler, but what I'm saying is he turned the country from a very poor situation into having some leading edge products. Yeah, he turned the whole thing at different times as well. I mean,
but he built good trains because he thought if we have a war, we need fast transport. That's why he built the train lines.
Yeah,
he had good train. He had good Mercedes Benz. They're still the top, aren't they? Mercedes Benz, BMW. They're still very reliable and good compared to General Motors.
Compared to General Motors,
and then you got compared to even Hyundai, whatever. Although they're pinching other people's ideas, but they made the right decisions, and in the end result is they're strong and we're weak. But there's more involved than that.